Y'all, I'm all about girl power. Seriously, I went in the Marine Corps at 19 years old, never touched a gun, became really good at it, stayed 8 years, taught Marines on the range. I've made more money and been more successful using my Marine Corps background than I ever did my degree in psychology. But riddle me this. Why is the director of the Secret Service Security, Kimberly Cheetos, even in that position? She worked the security planning for Pepsi freaking Cola. Pepsi freaking Cola. No military background, no law enforcement background. As soon as she was hired in 2022 as one of the, I think she's the second woman that was ever in charge of Secret Service, she did a interview with Security Magazine and talked about how she kept the photo of the first 5 women in the Secret Service on her desk and how she wanted to make them proud. This is an example of a DEI hire. She is more worried about hiring women and being inclusive than she is protecting a president or former president of the United States. She failed epically. She should have been fired on the spot. We don't have time for DEI, and we don't have time for somebody to get put in a position just because they're a certain gender. I'm sorry, I'm all pro-woman, but that is BS, and she's got to go. You can look at the things she said and done and just see that she simply is more worried about inclusion than she is getting the job done.
If we go back to when Kimberly Cheetos started, then yes, she is much more worried about DEI hires than actually getting people to protect guys like Donald Trump. I know she's resigned, but it's pretty clear that she was trying to steer the Secret Service into the wrong direction.
To expand hiring, they're aiming to have 30% women recruits by 2030, and even allowed YouTube influencer Michelle Carre to train with agents.
But I'm very conscious as I sit in this chair now of making sure that we need to attract diverse candidates and ensure that we are developing and giving opportunities to everybody in our workforce.
As history has shown us, DEI hires are not as helpful when it comes to securing a former president of the United States. It also reminds me that as shots were supposedly flying back on July 13th, at least one Secret Service member was said to have been hiding behind Donald Trump instead of protecting him. Like actually using Donald Trump as a shield. Unbelievably dishonorable in my opinion. Now, this could just be a photo and is more of a situation where she was running to protect the president, but the optics don't look great. There was also the matter of training and if the Secret Service even went as far as to properly prepare these individuals for situations like these.
After Secret Service Barbie, a highly trained member of the Secret Service, removes her weapon from its holster for the very first time in her career. She struggles to return her pea shooter as though it's her first day on the job. Fortuitously, her skills from a previous life as an amateur actress come into play, allowing her to convincingly mimic the swift draw of the weapon and scan the horizon for threats. Chewing her gum nonchalantly, she attempts to exude a tactical demeanor, reminiscent of a fusion between the Blues Brothers and Rosie O'Donnell. Despite her efforts, our agent's attempt to return her wireless hole punch to its home results in another failure. While she may have faltered at this most basic of tasks, she certainly looked cool while doing it.
I know it's just a meme and all, but it wouldn't be a laughing matter if Donald Trump took more of a direct shot, if you know what I mean. But it does show you just how ludicrous this idea of diversity is when it comes to security. If you want to secure somebody, you have to put the biggest and the meanest dudes that you can right on them. Many have speculated that even Taylor Swift has better protection than a former leader of our country.
Fans are just now picking up on the fact that Taylor Swift's security guard is always by her side on stage. In this video, you can see her security guard standing there as Taylor gets closer to the audience. And once Taylor moves to a different part of the stage, her guard follows and stands exactly where she is.
And it's not like these women that were hired by the Secret Service is at fault. It's the leadership that needs to be held accountable. Sure, Kimberly Cheetos has resigned, but it took so much pressure for her to do so. It's the right thing to do, but she took her sweet time doing it. There's also the matter of the Secret Service and their requirements for new hires. So I checked their website and found out that there's no baseline when it comes to height or weight requirements for new agents. So they have this APAT or APAT, the Applicant Physical Abilities Test, that evaluates their ability to perform. It's a points-based system, and it says here that the APAT standards are not specific to age and or gender identity. So it means that as long as you can get enough points, you too can be a part of the Secret Service. What's really surprising though is that you can get points just by doing a couple of reps. So you got push-ups, sit-ups, running, and a 1.5 mile run that applicants have to finish in less than 20 minutes. But why are the numbers so low for these reps? This is the Secret Service. They're supposed to be able to protect our most important government officials, but their standards are at this level? Have you seen the security detail that Russia and China have? These guys are massive. They're swole. And as you guys saw, they are taller than the people that they're tasked to protect. Which begs the question, was Donald Trump given a security detail that was not capable of actually protecting him? You know it's bad when even Democrats are siding with Republicans.
I don't know who prepared you for this. I don't know how many times you've testified in front of Congress. But a president was almost assassinated live on television, not just for Americans, but for the world to see. And this being your first opportunity, I understand there's an ongoing investigation. I understand there's things that you can not talk about. But the idea that we're getting less than you did on television is something that Democrats, Independents, or Republicans are going to find unacceptable. Once it's concluded, you're prepared to fire the people on the ground who made poor decisions that day.
I'm prepared to take the actions necessary.
No, that's nonsense. Okay. Accountability. The failure was human. That doesn't mean they're bad people. It means they failed that day. And a former president was almost assassinated.
I don't have an answer as to whether.
Well, then how can there be accountability if you're not prepared to fire someone? And the reason why your name is going to be the person who's held accountable, the reason why members in this committee are calling for resignation, and I join in that, or for the president to fire you, is because you're saying there's going to be accountability, but you can't commit that people are going to get fired.
Which reminds me that the local SWAT team has now told us the truth about what actually happened that day. Now, I discussed this in a lot of detail in a previous video that you guys absolutely need to watch. It's an eye-opener, and it shows that it's highly possible that this was all a planned event. Make sure you guys check that video out after this one. Thanks so much for liking and subscribing to the channel, and thank you so much for sharing these videos on Facebook and Twitter. You guys are amazing. Appreciate you guys supporting the channel, and I'll see you guys on the next one.